Hello again and welcome to module number 1. This module will cover some important information regarding your employment with us. But first, a message from Chris on how to make the most out of your time here at the Supervisor of Elections Office.
If I had to give any advice to new employees, one of the things I would say is to be mindful of the work that you do and assume that it's going to be inspected by somebody down the road. The 2000 election is a perfect example of that. At the time the election was being conducted, you did not know the scrutiny was coming after the fact. So whether it's a manager or another voter or a coworker, there's always somebody who's going to be looking at your work, so you want to make sure that your work is up to par. Another thing I would advise new employees is to be mindful of their use of social media in the office place. Mobile devices are everywhere, everyone has Facebook accounts, but while you're here working, it's important to stay on task and give the voters of the county your best effort.
We are an equal opportunity employer. We are committed to equal employment opportunity both in principle and in fact. The office will make reasonable accommodations for qualified individuals with disabilities, and it is the Supervisor of Elections policy that any form of discrimination or harassment will not be tolerated in the workplace. We value diversity here at the Supervisor of Elections Office.
Well, diversity is very important to us here at the Elections Office. We live in a very diverse county in Leon County. I think it's important that the staff reflect the diversity of the community. So having that diversity on staff, I think, is an asset for the county.
Let's talk a little bit about harassment and what it is. Harassment will not be tolerated. All allegations of harassment will be taken seriously and will be promptly investigated. Now, harassment covers a wide range of behaviors of an offensive nature. It is commonly understood as behavior intended to disturb or upset, and it is characteristically repetitive. In the legal sense, it is intentional behavior which is found threatening or disturbing. We have a short video that we'd like for you to watch to help you further understand the definition of harassment and our policies at the Supervisor of Elections Office.
Ah, yes, master. Grasshopper must not be late. The rest of us don't have wheelchair parking. I mean, let him try to hoof it in on time from outer Mongolia. Who elected him hall monitor anyway?
Diversity, harassment, two words you hear a lot these days. But what do they mean? And how do they affect you? In this program, we'll talk about diversity and cover the basics of workplace harassment. We'll review situations that involve challenging workplace dynamics and discuss what to do if you feel that you are being subjected to potential workplace harassment. And most importantly, we'll talk about how you can help prevent harassment at your job. Diversity doesn't just mean male versus female or employees of different races. Coworkers may come from different cultural backgrounds or have different religious beliefs or nationalities, ages, or physical abilities. These days, individuals are feeling empowered to assume non-traditional roles, and employers have created greater opportunities for those efforts to succeed. It is now a common experience to find yourself working side by side with others who are not just like you. An inclusive workplace can be a very positive thing, but it can also create friction. Let's face it, most of us have experienced some kind of work-related stress or conflict involving our coworkers. It's human nature. But when we fail to deal with our differences in a straightforward and professional way, small problems can quickly become big problems. And if a workplace is tainted by intolerance and discrimination, we don't get the best from others or ourselves. Take Howard and Matt. Howard seems to take it personally when Matt comes in late for work. Matt strikes back by attacking Howard's disability and heritage. Unfortunately, this is not the first time this has happened. Let's return to our story and observe Howard bringing an earlier concern to Lauren, the new head of his work group.
Hi, Howard. So there's a new martial arts movie out.
Really?
They've all seen it.
Uh-huh.
So that means I have to listen to a bunch of jokers with fake accents playing Taekwondo all day.
Howard, I'm really sorry to hear that.
Especially Matt.
Well, sometimes people are just trying to be funny, and they say things without thinking.
Whatever.
It is apparent that Matt is engaging in behavior that Howard finds offensive, but there are additional factors involved. Did Howard make his concerns clear? Did he give Lauren a chance to help? Most employers have strong policies against workplace harassment. These policies remind employees to treat each other with courtesy and mutual respect, and outline what may or may not be considered workplace harassment. They also encourage employees to speak up immediately if something is bothering them. Of course, in an ideal situation, employees won't let resentments build. Often employees will work out their differences between themselves. But if that doesn't solve the problem, or if speaking directly to the harasser is uncomfortable for whatever reason, then employees should know that they can go to a supervisor or manager, or to anyone designated by the organization to handle human resources issues. Remember, harassment is not only sexual in nature. It is not limited to actions by supervisors, but can result from unwelcome and offensive behavior by coworkers as well, if the conduct is based in a protected category and is severe or pervasive. It can occur even if an offensive comment or gesture is not directly intended for the person who sees it or overhears it. For example, the conversation about the martial arts movie when Howard was nearby. Let's look at the basics. Workplace harassment involves conduct aimed at or involving any protected category under state or federal law. For example, federal equal opportunity law covers race, color, religion, sex, and national origin, among other protected categories. The Age Discrimination in Employment Act applies to persons age 40 and over, and the Americans with Disabilities Act covers employees with disabilities. In some states, employees are protected in additional categories such as sexual orientation, gender identity, or marital status. But it's not just about the law. Showing respect for others, regardless of any kind of difference, is always the right thing to do. Now, let's return to our story where we hear about another incident at Howard's workplace.
Lauren.
Yeah, Howard? What's up?
I guess they think this is funny.
Where did this come from?
I found it on my desk. I think it's Matt's little joke.
I guess I should talk to him.
Workplace harassment can be caused by what is often referred to as a hostile environment, a term which encompasses a wide scope of unwelcome and offensive conduct that is severe or pervasive and is based on a protected category. Items that may contribute to a hostile environment may include offensive objects that are brought into the workplace, cartoons, posters, cards, or mugs, for example, whether they are purposely meant to hurt someone or not. Verbal behavior based on a protected category can contribute to a hostile environment as well, such as derogatory comments, slurs, jokes, or offensive emails. Physical behavior could include rude facial expressions or gestures, unwelcome touching, or blocking someone's movements. In our story, Howard is now giving Lauren the opportunity to help solve the problem before it becomes more severe.
Okay. Thank you. See you soon. Bye-bye. Hi, Howard. Can you shut the door? I just got off the phone with HR. Is it okay if we talk about what's been happening with Matt?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. How long has this been going on?
It's gotten worse since the new attendance policy went into effect. They still come in whenever they feel like it, and they harass me when I show up on time.
They?
Well, just Matt, really.
Have others seen it happening?
Ellen doesn't seem to go along with it very much. Neither does Frank.
Okay. I'll talk to them. And I'll talk to Matt.
Okay.
I don't know what his problem is, I mean, I think it bothers him that I get more work done than he does. But I mean, just because he's been here forever.
Matt, I want you to know that I'm investigating the situation fairly, so I won't be jumping to any conclusions.
All right, I'm glad to hear that.
Which means you'll have the opportunity to fully explain this from your perspective, and that I'll also be talking to others. Who else can shed some light on this?
April doesn't put up with any of his bull. You should talk to her.
Okay, April. I'll talk to her.
Great.
But Howard does ask for it sometimes. I mean, he can be a real pain.
Matt has been quoted as having made those statements. April, have you been present when Matt, or anyone else here for that matter, has made unwelcome comments about a coworker's age, gender identity, color?
I used to think that Matt was kind of funny. But I guess he has been crossing the line lately.
He does this to everyone. It's not just Howard. No, he calls me Curly. Yeah, it bothers me.
Did you tell him that it bothers you?
And with a guy like Matt, I just didn't want to make it any worse, you know?
Well, what you're talking about is not really a protected category, but it does add to a negative atmosphere.
Yeah, well, eventually, you know, you just get immune to it.
I'm doing an investigation on possible harassment in our group. What can you tell me?
You're probably talking about Matt. He's always kidding around. He's like the class clown.
Does he make you uncomfortable?
Yeah. I mean, well, at first it really bothered me when he'd tease me about saying grace at lunch.
And how does he tease you?
But he doesn't really mean any harm.
Ellen, it's not his intentions that matter. It's how his conduct affects everyone around him. So how does he tease you?
It's just things that he says sometimes.
Lauren is being careful to get the full story. After interviewing several more witnesses, Lauren is able to conclude that Matt has established a pattern of inappropriate comments. In this case, after Lauren consults with HR and senior management, it is decided that Matt will receive a written warning and counseling on the company's policies on discrimination and harassment.
Yeah, but how come Howard gets special parking privileges? Half the time he doesn't even use his cane. Besides, I mean, it's not like it harmed anybody. Nobody quit or anything.
We're not just expecting common courtesy here. Harassment's against the law.
All right. I'm sorry. I didn't think anybody would take it this seriously.
Matt, few things at work are more serious than following this policy. It affects other people's jobs and touches on important rights. You need to understand that.
Okay.
Even though Matt thought no real harm occurred, Howard was hurt by his actions. Hopefully, he now understands that his behavior was inappropriate. What's more, Howard actually helped Matt by speaking up. Matt could have lost his job if this behavior had continued. Now Lauren will be watching to make sure no one retaliates against Howard for coming forward. An employee is protected from retaliation for filing a complaint or raising a concern about discrimination or harassment, or even for taking part in an investigation when acting in good faith. No one should ever have to regret speaking up to protect their rights in the workplace.
Matt's conduct was determined to be inappropriate. He'll be dealt with accordingly. Howard, tell me, what further outcome would you like to see in order for this workplace to be harassment-free for you?
It's gotten better already. I think the others can see what's been going on now. I guess it's up to Matt at this point.
Okay.
Howard?
Never seen you here so early. Is your watch fast?
Yeah, well, listen. I'm sorry about what happened. I was just kidding around. Well, actually, I suppose sometimes I was ticked off, but it won't happen again.
Well, that's good to hear.
All right. I'm gonna go back to work. If you want to talk about it, just whenever.
Thanks, Matt.
When employees like Howard and Matt participate in their employer's attempts to respond to and eliminate workplace harassment, the end result is not only good business practice, it creates a better workplace environment for everyone. An inclusive workplace not only welcomes differences, but also maintains standards of courtesy and professionalism. With Matt and Howard, it looks like the foundation has now been laid for them to better understand and work out their disagreements. By treating each other with respect, they'll contribute to an environment where everybody can do their best work, regardless of who they are. So, what does all this mean for you? First, be familiar with your organization's policies on harassment and diversity. They often cover more than you think and help create a positive atmosphere that goes beyond mere compliance. Next, if a coworker's actions or comments are unwelcome and offensive, speak up about your concerns. If you don't feel comfortable talking to that person directly, you can usually go to your supervisor or human resources or anyone else up the chain of command. And what if someone complains about your behavior? Well, the short answer is stop. If you disagree with a complaint or have questions about it, talk to your manager or HR. Make sure your behavior is courteous and that you keep the lines of communication open. It's good to be friendly and to be yourself, but also be aware of others' perspectives and sensibilities. If you think you've hurt someone's feelings unintentionally or otherwise, apologize and commit to improving your working relationship as you move forward. By following these guidelines, you'll help create an environment where everyone is respected and everyone feels they're part of the team. After all, we're all in this together.
Workplace harassment is not annoying behavior or simply disliking your coworker. It's not a rude customer or disciplinary action from your supervisor. We are very proud of our open door policies here at the Supervisor of Elections Office because we do provide a harassment-free workplace. All employees deserve to work in a harassment-free environment, and if you don't feel safe, we want to hear your concerns. Work-related problems can arise in any place of employment, and we hope individuals will try to reconcile differences on an individual basis. But to understand a little bit further, what and who are we talking about here? Well, valid concerns must be work-related dissatisfactions and are not related to administrative policy. We are an open-door organization, and any employee, temporary or full-time, can address their concerns. All complaints will be investigated. So please, let us help you. First, try to resolve the issue with direct and professional communication with the source of your conflict. If you're not able to resolve the conflict or you don't feel comfortable doing so, contact your immediate supervisor or the administrative services manager. If your concerns continue, you can file a grievance in writing to the Assistant Supervisor of Elections. We'd like for you to meet Holly. This is Holly, our Administrative Services Manager.
Before I worked in the elections industry, I worked for a long time in the performing arts community and specifically in live theater. And it's kind of amazing. There's a lot of parallels in that if an election goes really, really well, there are the things that the audience sees, like in front of the curtain, which is having a really great experience and everything seeming flawless. And then there are the things they don't see, which are behind the curtain, which are people running around with duct tape and hammers and ladders and cables and cords and all the hard work that goes into it for months and months on end before the curtain rises. The other thing is the show must go on. We don't get a do-over. We have election day, so if our prep is in place, everything goes great, wonderful, and if there are glitches, we have to improvise on the spot. So it is so much about teamwork, and welcome to the team. We look forward to working with you through 2016.
We maintain a drug-free workplace at the Supervisor of Elections Office. The manufacturing, distribution, dispensing, possession, concealment, use, sale, or transfer of alcohol, illegally used or abused drugs, or any controlled substance while at work on any office premises, which includes parking lots, or work sites, in office-owned or leased vehicles, or on official office business is prohibited. This policy also prohibits the presence of any person while under the influence. In regards to your political activities, the office respects and supports the rights of its employees to participate in the democratic process. Participation in some campaign activities may have the potential to be perceived as a conflict of interest or negatively impact the ability of the office or the individual employee to perform duties. If you're not sure, ask your project manager for clarification. In regards to your employment, the employment relationship that we have with you is at will and may be ended by the employee or the employer. Most temporary employees will be either classified as an OPS employee or will be assigned by an employment agency as a temporary employee. If you're not sure which classification you fit under, just ask your project manager. As an OPS employee, individuals who are hired by the Supervisor of Elections for a limited period of time to work on special projects or election cycles are classified as Other Personnel Services, or OPS employees. The work schedule and length of employment may vary and are dependent on the task to be completed. As an OPS employee, there are certain benefits. If your employment lasts longer than 6 months, you will be enrolled in the Florida Retirement System, for which employees contribute 3% of their salary, and the office contributes an additional percentage of actual salary earned during employment. Also, if you're here full-time and for more than 6 months, you are eligible for health insurance coverage. The Administrative Services Manager can answer more questions regarding these benefits during your new employee enrollment appointment. As a temporary employee, temporary employees are assigned to our organization, but they actually are employed by a temporary workforce agency. Health and retirement benefits do not apply to a temporary employee assigned to us by an employment agency. To further get to know us, this is Mark Early, our Voting Systems Manager.
Yeah, I remember starting out here in elections back in the 80s. We used to work over at the Tharp Street warehouse with the lever voting machines. I actually remember the first time working, or that I met Aya, was programming the lever voting machines and cut off jean shorts. I guess it was in July, probably 120 degrees in the voting machine warehouse then. A tank top shirt, and Aya came in full business suit. And he was talking about how well he knew voting machines, and it turned out to be true. It was great. Same time, I was also working, believe it or not, part-time at Domino's Pizza, delivering pizzas during the night. So, just memories from long ago. Things have improved greatly since then, which is great to hear.
Your attendance with us is very important. You are part of a team. Timely performance and reliability are important in meeting our goals. You must clock in and out or complete a timesheet. Holidays and weekends may be required. If you must work a holiday or a weekend, don't worry, we'll be sure to tell you in advance. And our attendance is 40 hours a week in most cases. Your schedule will be determined by your project manager. If you are going to be late or will not be able to report in, please just let us know. Give us a call if you're going to be late or if you have an emergency. And we try to accommodate all leave requests, but know that sometimes because of the election schedule, we cannot grant all leave requests. If you are an OPS employee with us, you are paid biweekly through direct deposit. Our paydays are on Thursday. Overtime may be offered to you, and overtime is based on a 40-hour work week, which begins Saturday through the following Friday. Your overtime is 1 1/2 time your regular salary, and know that overtime must be pre-approved by your project manager. The timesheet process is very important to assure that you receive your payment on time. You will need to clock in and clock out even for your lunch break. Your timesheet must be completed on time and turned in order to receive your payment. You will be offered breaks and lunches. A break room is provided along with a refrigerator and microwave for your use. Please keep the area clean for others to enjoy too. Your lunch break will be coordinated with your project manager, and it depends on our workload. Please note that eating is restricted to individual offices in the break room and should not be done in the presence of the public. You are now a public servant, and that comes with many responsibilities, including our dedication to customer service.
Working in elections is a very challenging but rewarding experience. We're very much in the customer service business, whether it's with the voters or the public, or anybody that's on a phone call or coming to early vote, working at the polls. A lot of people are only going to have a couple of seconds of interaction with you, and that will be what they remember from their election experience. So it's important to remember that. One thing I would say as well is that we have a lot of staff members here who started as temporary workers and now are permanent staff. So that's something to keep in mind, is that there's always opportunities out there and you want to be doing your best.
As a public employee, you have a very high ethical standard which you must maintain the highest standard of conduct and ethics. We are public servants and must keep that trust sacred. Nothing is more essential to our nation than that of maintaining the integrity of an election. Please remain nonpartisan. Your actions as well as your words not only reflect upon the office, but may provide an example for other personnel to follow with the beliefs that it's acceptable behavior. And know that all information contained in voter registration records is for business purposes only and may not be used by employees for any other purpose. Please conduct yourself in a professional manner. You will also maintain a pleasant and congenial work attitude with other staff and visitors to our office. Loud, boisterous behavior is not allowed, and voices must be kept to a reasonable level while in the office. Remember that you are an example of the best of Leon County, and that you are a public servant entrusted with a sacred duty. There are some immediate causes of termination that we want to go over with you. Insubordination, which is a failure to comply with a supervisor or manager's instructions and work assignments. Dishonesty, including falsification of employment application, timesheet, or other official documents. Excessive absenteeism or tardiness. A commission of a crime or other conduct that damages the image or reputation of the office of the supervisor of elections. Inability to work congenially or amicably with fellow employees and management. And of course, any violation of the harassment policy. As a public servant, it is a different role from those that you will find in any private industry. You are now endowed with the responsibility of serving the common good and protecting the rights of your fellow citizens. You will learn many new skills that will follow you throughout your career, and of course, it is your sacred honor to protect and promote public trust and confidence by your conduct of accurate and fair elections. You have a role as a gatekeeper of democracy, and that your principles and ethics be placed above personal or partisan gain. Let's talk a little bit about how we solicit your feedback. Communication in our office is vital. Our program is designed to provide communication and feedback to you and from you. Our tools are designed to promote open lines of communication and feedback. And there are 3 separate tools that we use for performance and feedback. The first is the 5 and 5 communication. Within the first few weeks of your employment, your project team manager will answer and review 5 assessment questions with you. This quick 5-minute communication session is designed to help provide you feedback as you become more comfortable with your duties. If you are a longer-term OPS or temporary employee, you will be asked to complete an online feedback questionnaire. The feedback questionnaire is designed to provide an opportunity for you to share your input. Your program manager will also complete a form reviewing your performance. These forms are submitted directly to the Assistant Supervisor of Elections and the Administrative Services Manager. Your knowledge and insight is important. And once you have completed your term of service with us, you will be completing an exit survey. The exit survey is in order for us to pursue our value of seeking efficiencies and identifying opportunities for continual improvement. And the online survey is designed to provide an avenue to enhance our services to our voters and all future team members. This concludes this module.
Congratulations, you finished Module 1. Please go back and take the quiz and then proceed to Module 2.